Commence primary ignition.
Hey, this is Marty Matulis. I play Vane on The Mandalorian, and you're watching the Virtual Cantina Network.
We have a pirate announcing us. That's amazing.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, Marty.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday.
Hey, guys. Hi, Spencer. Letting everybody creep in slowly into the chat.
We are, aside from seeing a pirate in our opening, we're going to be seeing a princess tonight, which I'm very excited about.
Nice. Hi,
um,
Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Spencer. Jeff is producing tonight. Ashley and I have a fun little watch along that we're going to do, an episode that is close, near and dear to our hearts. Partially because we had Julie Dolan on the show last year, and we'll talk a little bit about that in case
Wow,
anyone
we
missed
just
that
said
episode.
last year.
I know, isn't that like it's wild?
Not
It
okay.
is still. I lose track of the years. I don't know how if you deal with this at all, but like I'm planning for 2020. I was planning for 2024. We're sort of turning the page on that and planning for 25. We were in 2023. It was actually more confusing back in like November, December. Now everything is like just kind of 2024. But I keep forgetting that we've actually crossed over the year and we're
Yeah.
physically in it.
Huh.
Yeah, and that's kind of crazy. And I'm in countdown mode for Vegas because I go to the Halloween and Party Expo next week. I'm actually
That
I would
sounds
be
like a
leaving.
time, man. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's gonna be fun, and a lot of work. I would actually be
yeah.
flying out 24 a week from today, but early in the day. So next week there will be a guest host in my place. Skip is going to be joining us
Yeah.
again. He's our official fill-in co-host for 2024, which is very exciting.
Yeah, he's representing us this year. I had a little emergency situation last week, and now Mark is on a work assignment, so it'll be good. Always enjoy having Skip on the show.
Yeah, and he knows his stuff. So I promised him a watch along next time, so we didn't have to prepare any homework. Um, and we've got one tonight as well. And then when I get back that week of the 29th, we're going to do our first season recap, which takes work. So Ashley and I will be in the Googles and everything, getting everything sorted for that episode. That'll be really, really
Yeah.
fun.
Spencer,
But
don't get so far ahead of yourself. Let the man breathe.
yeah, he's going to run away. There's no commitment, Skip. I tell him all the time. Uh,
This is a
but yeah, there
practice
are.
run.
Exactly. Just we're just interviewing you for various hosting gigs. But tonight will be a nice, like, relaxing watch along, especially because we've talked about this episode in depth with Julie when she was on our episode. Everyone go back and rewatch the interview with Julie Dolan. She was fantastic and talked a lot
Love
about
her.
beyond just this one episode of Rebels, everything else she's done in Star Wars, her friends in Star Wars, all the stuff she does outside in the
All the
entertainment
Leias, the
industry.
League of Leias, like that's amazing.
Yes. The Ladies of Leia is still a dream of mine to get together in one room at like a public um, official event.
Right.
Back when I was still
Hey,
at
Sherry.
Hey Sherry, back when I was still at Tops, when I was initially trying to figure out what does Star Wars Celebration 2020 look like, the celebration that wasn't. Um, it was going to be based in California, which is where 2022 eventually was, right? It was Anaheim. And the thought was there are lots of actors that live in Los Angeles and we can pull them in for the day, do a partial day. Maybe you get them in a car and then they leave and come back, right?
Right.
Um, that could be a really interesting way to pull in someone who maybe might not be able to do a long stretch, or if they're sort of a guest star, maybe they're not going to have a demand to to keep them at the show for 3 whole days.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So yeah. Oh, I just see RuPaul won Best Reality Competition Show at the Emmys. That's exciting. Uh,
Yes,
and he won
Queens.
the host for yeah, the Emmys are on, by the way, so I know we're competing with the Emmys.
But
But
the
yeah,
Star Wars shows are up for a ton of Emmys this year, so it's kind of good to stay live on that. So thank you.
yeah, we'll keep an
Appreciate it.
eye on it. If anyone in the
Thanks,
chat,
Spencer.
um, Spencer, keep it coming because
Hi,
I am
Lori.
curious to see what the the Star Wars shows win because they've already done the Creative Arts Emmys and they've already won a few things.
Oh,
This
Pedro
is
was a
the prime
presenter.
time.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. I will be the host with the most. So okay, so coming back to the Golden Globes, did everyone see Pedro there in his sling when he hurt his arm?
What'd you do, Pedro? Yeah, I was like, okay, either that's The Last of Us starting to film again, or he's like me and just trips over nothing. So
He said he just fell, and I'm like, "There's more to this story," but I'm sure he hurt himself doing a stunt where he's not allowed to talk about it. Um, okay, let's get into the news because this segues into it. The Mandalorian and Grogu is a movie. That is news. That
yeah.
is not news I expected to hear, um, and I don't think that it was planned. I think this is a reaction to a variety of things. Like
Oh,
maybe Mando
okay.
season 4 became the Mando movie. Because this is not the Thrawn movie. This is not the movie that will culminate the Mandalorian time frame, like the great conflict of the new era, the new Republic. It's
Right.
not that. It's not Thrawn with Ezra and Ahsoka and the New Republic and Mando and Bo-Katan and Boba Fett and everyone, right? This is the Mandalorian and Grogu, and we know nothing else. Um, but it is a newly announced movie on top of the movie slate that's already out there. What does everyone think about this? Because I have thoughts.
I really think um I think they're trying to build something that maybe is a little grander, a little more widespread than the volume and filming for television would allow. And they need a little more money behind it, which is why they're probably aiming for like a grander, more theatrical production. Um, I'm nervous, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
And
I
and
have
go
similar
ahead.
thoughts. When keep building because I'm agreeing, so keep it rolling.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's not confirmed yet." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean it's not confirmed? Lucasfilm this isn't a Lucasfilm post. This is on StarWars.com."
Yeah,
"Oh, yeah, well, they said they were gonna do Rangers of the New Republic, and they said they were gonna do Rogue Squadron, and they haven't done either of those things." And I'm like, "Okay, but projects get scrapped all the time. Stuff happens." So, the discourse is a little meh right now about that, but the majority of the people seem happy about it.
yes. Here's my two-pronged thought on this. One, Star Wars discourse, wherever it is always garbage. Whether it's YouTube or Twitter or X or even Threads. Um, the fandom of individuals are
Yeah.
excellent. The YouTube creators with the loudest voices are usually awful. And spread the problems. And I'm in a one-way feud with them constantly. I'm actually very selective about who's on my PR list at work for that exact reason. Like I work with numerous fan sites across the fandoms, and I like to think that they're the good ones. And they are. And as soon as I have a bad experience with someone, they're just cut from the list. I
Nice.
got no chill for that. Um, so that being said, there is a great group of fandom out there for Star Wars, the way there is probably for every fandom, including Virtual Cantina. Like where I really do think that we're like a shining bright spot in like the mess of Star Wars. Because when you just go to YouTube and search Star Wars, you get a lot of like, women are terrible, send. And that's like the thesis statement,
Oh,
right?
women don't
Um,
like Star Wars. Oh, that is
yeah.
making the rounds. That
Of
reel is
course,
making
of
the
course
rounds.
it is because we have a Ray movie with a women director, and people are pissed about that. Ahsoka's getting a season 2, which was actually also buried in that announcement about the movie.
Yes.
Um, and then the follow up was great, so we got to talk about that as well. The follow up to the Ahsoka announcement, but
We'll get there.
the the actual Mandalorian movie announcement really caught me off guard because one, I'm a licensee, and so there are things I always say it all the time. I know ahead of time about things that are going to happen, but then more and more I'm getting surprised and I'm finding things out publicly the same time that other people are, and that's true across all licensees,
Wow.
licensors. So this really did come out of nowhere, and it makes me think: are they reevaluating how they're going to market for their movies? Because Disney had a really rough year at the movies in 2023. Nothing really performed. Do they take their best known characters with a built-in audience franchise, like and casual fans, right? Casual people know who Grogu is, and they sort of love him, and maybe there's a chance then to monetize him in a theater. I could see both sides where like people would
Grogu
say,
popcorn bucket.
yeah, or Grogu any merch, right? Like he's on
Yeah.
every piece of merch. People are spending money on Grogu, even though Grogu is free, air quotes, because he's on Disney Plus. They are selling a ton of Grogu
Yeah.
merch and Mando merch in every category. So could they open a movie to big, big numbers? Probably. Yeah. And I think the risk is you're going to spend whatever money you're going to spend on the movie might be the same cost as a season of the show. And so in some ways the season of the show gets you 8 weeks of content on Disney Plus, or a movie in theaters that could possibly make you $500 million if done correctly, right? I
Yeah.
think the pros are all there. So I would,
Yeah,
yeah, let's give it a
absolutely.
try. And then if it flops, it flops. Or it doesn't make the money that you expect it's going to make, or they shoot it in the volume and it doesn't cost that much. Like there's any number of things.
Yeah,
What
kind of
else
like
was
Dial
on?
of Destiny, you know?
Well, and that unfortunately is considered a flop. The flop, one of the floppiest movies of 2013. Like it made so little money compared to its.
2013.
Sorry,
We
2023.
went
Maybe
back 10 years. Oh my
honestly,
god.
yeah, 2023. But honestly, compared to 2013, it would be a flop. Like
Yeah.
it's bad, right? Like the money spent on that movie compared to what it made, like Lucasfilm fully misread the room. Like there's no two ways about it. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand how you swing that, how you miss that big. It was ginormous. I
I
don't think
love
you'll
that
run
movie,
into.
so
It's. I thought it was fine. I don't have like strong feelings either way on it as a final chapter for Indy. I mean, but I like the idea that we have definitive answers that he where he is and he's fine. I didn't feel that actually after, even with the wedding. I still felt like there was this weird, stuff left after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But
yeah, I
um,
thought so too.
yeah, and by the way, I'm saying flop based on financial. But how you feel about the film? Like I think of music all the time. I think of albums that have come out that have like flopped and not sold well, and it's music that I love. Like my favorite Madonna album is American Life, and you can't tell no one that that's anyone's favorite Madonna album. There's not one hit single on it. No one cares. It came out in 2003. Like it was bad for sales wise, right? And I think it's her lowest selling album. Um, my all-time favorite. So love the thing that you love regardless of how it sold. Um, I think it's low risk though to put Mando
Yeah.
and Grogu in a movie. And so what are the other movies coming out? Do you remember the rest of the slate?
Um, they have the Ray movie.
Hmm.
Um, Skeleton Crew. Would that be as considered? No, those are shows. So they have Skeleton Crew. They have the Acolyte. Possibly more animation. Um, whether it be more Tales of the Jedi, more Young
Hmm.
Jedi Adventures, more Visions.
Right.
Um,
And that's
that,
all supposedly coming in
yeah,
2024.
and
Movie
I was
wise though, we
yeah,
think this movie, the Mando Grogu movie, won't hit till 25 because they're not going to go into production until 24.
yeah, they're
Right.
not going into production until this year, so we have some
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Um,
I keep saying 24 like we're not in 24. So yes, Mando and Grogu should go into production this year and probably come out next year, assuming all goes well. And then there's the Rey movie, there's the Dawn of the Jedi movie, there's the oh, the Mando verse Thrawn movie.
yeah, the
Let's just
giant,
call it Heir to the Empire. There's the Heir
yeah,
to the Empire movie. Yeah. So that's 4 movies right now, plus in theory the Taika Waititi movie,
yeah.
right? If that happens. So,
So, oh, Sarah.
Sarah. All right, one, I love your husband, so give him a high five for me. But no, here's the thing: you're always nice and always respectful and always loving,
Yeah,
and that's true of everyone in the chat. I love to disagree with people, and we have fun. We have fun.
we do.
Um, yes, it's a good time. The cool thing
Spencer,
about Star Wars is you can disagree with fun, like, and have fun with it, right?
mhm,
Like,
that is what
yeah,
we are here
Star Wars
for.
Endgame. Yeah, that is the Mando movie, the Thrawn Heir to the Empire movie.
So
I would think.
Spencer thinks that we're getting a Mando trailer at Celebration, and yeah, I totally agree. I think
Mhm.
they're amping everything up to go into production this year, so they have content for next year, and then they can
Yeah.
just polish everything up. So
Yep.
Japan's going to be a big deal.
It will be. That's for sure. I'm sad that I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, same.
um, yeah.
I can afford a few Disney trips on the cost of Celebration Japan. So
Yeah, I can't imagine I would go, but unless work decides to send me, but I don't think so. But we'll see. You never know.
yeah, you never
Either
know.
way, we'll cover. Well, I'll take over the news desk with you guys the way I had originally planned. Yeah,
He did, Spencer, but you know what? The cost to London and the cost to Japan are two
yeah,
completely different things. Plus, licensing and what's
yeah.
regulated over there and what's regulated here are two completely different
Let's
things.
let me survive the Halloween and Party Expo next week first, and then we'll
One step
talk
at a
about.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. One convention and trade show at a time. But yeah, so a lot of Star Wars news this week. So the
Yeah.
announcement of the Mando Grogu movie came with Ahsoka season 2. It was sort of buried at the bottom, which they do that sometimes with
Yeah.
Lucasfilm. And then the next day, Filoni put up the sketch that set the internet on fire.
Dave, do you have a copy of the sketch in the reels?
Let me go grab one real
Oh,
quick.
okay.
Okay,
Dave
we'll
put
put
it
it
in
up.
for you guys on Wednesday, but
Yeah.
unfortunately that stuff doesn't populate every brand.
Mhm.
Right, right.
That's always what our issue is with assets here.
Yep.
Give me a
No
sec.
worries. I think most people have probably seen it. If not, it's basically a pointing. So the finger of the father in the statues at the end of Ahsoka season 1, where Rey um,
Balin.
as Balin Skull um, was standing there looking out, in theory, toward Mortis. The new sketch shows Sabine and Ahsoka standing on that same finger, and it
I
just
thought
said,
it was
like,
okay, so I saw Shin first and I was
yeah,
like, "Oh, Shin, it's Sabine first," and I was like, "Oh, that's Shin." But then I saw the horns and I was like, "Oh, it's Ahsoka and oh, Sabine." So
yeah.
it's like really exciting. It's the hand
I
from God. No, it
Yeah,
isn't. You know.
it is. It's the hand of a god, um, and it's where we're going, right? So, in theory, right, I like this for a lot of reasons. One,
Yeah.
the show's about Ahsoka. Ahsoka should be the focus, and I do think the thing that most excited me about the Ahsoka season 1 was Balin Skull and his journey to Mortis.
There
Yeah,
we
there we
go.
go. Um,
I saw the signature in the corner. I'm like, "Wait, is that recent?" And then I was like,
yeah,
"23. Yes, it is. Oh my god."
I mean, the fact that that's where we're headed next is
Favorite.
so awesome. I love, love, love the Mortis episodes, and I know Jamie was
Me
talking about
too.
this on
Yeah.
Wednesday, how they're like some of her favorite episodes of the Clone Wars. They're
Mine
among
too.
mine as
Yeah.
well.
They're
So,
so
yeah,
intense and they're so weird, and they're
so
so
weird.
out of
Yeah,
the norm that I just
yeah,
like I absolutely love it. It's like their answer to the World Between Worlds and Rebels. Like
yeah.
the weirdness is just amazing. So good, you keep pulling my headset.
Uh, The only criticism that I would say is that it does lean into George's desire to over-explain everything.
Mhm.
But I love this. Like, I love everything about it. Like the idea that like the Force has a physical manifestation, and the night and day is like literally the light and the dark fighting every day on the
Yeah.
planet. And then the stuff that happens, if you don't know that stuff happened to Ahsoka and to Anakin, even though they forget it, it's like buried within them. Like they know it. um like it's wild to think like that they went through all of that and no one knows. And I think we've talked about this on the channel before. They'd be smart to not tell anyone that that shit happened to them. Like, maybe you tell Yoda, maybe, but like you keep that close to the chest because everyone's either going to think you're crazy, because there's no evidence, right? They were gone for literally a split second. Like, even though their experience in the world, in the Mortis environment, whatever it was, takes place over multiple days, they disappear from the map for like a split second, according to Rex or whoever else was talking to them. I forget who it was now, but like that, and and they in theory are sort of responsible for the dark side getting loose, it seems. I mean, there's a lot that happens in these episodes where, um Ahsoka's whole arc really takes a new turn because of it, and it explains like where we're headed with her.
Yeah.
And to see it now continuing in live action, I mean, come on, like
Oh my god,
that's what we
yeah.
all wanted, right?
I wonder if we're gonna get like obviously Mortis flashbacks of Ahsoka remembering like, hey, I died on Mortis and I was
Yeah.
brought back. And then I died again when this happened and I was brought back. So I think she gets to the bottom of what goes on with her,
Mhm.
and we finally get the answer of like, okay, what is Morai? Like, is she
Yeah.
a full representation, like the familiar, or is she like the full representation of the daughter? Yeah, like
Right. Is she
repressed
the actual
memory starts
daughter?
to, yeah.
Yeah.
So
There are
get those
you guys
answers.
you guys, we can't even keep up with the chat. There's too many good things in here.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Um so Sarah, starting with your first question, the with Ahsoka fainting, I think it goes multiple parts, right? She's connected to Vader in a way that's like, because Anakin did the thing to take the life force, and they're already connected, and then they're also a master apprentice, so I feel like they already have a force connection. And then she just got overwhelmed. But yeah, I think that she like literally felt it. There is some repressed memory there for sure. And yeah, Ahsoka's the daughter, Vader's the son, Jar Jar's the father. Oh, Aaron. Um, so
No.
I've been pondering this trio thing for a while. Ashley, I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well,
Yeah.
because I think we've all agreed that like we understand that Anakin is the father. Like the father even talks to him about like, hey, you're supposed to replace me and keep things in balance. And we saw Anakin be good guy Anakin, Jedi, and then bad guy Vader Sith. Like he's had both sides of the equation.
The
And
duality. Yeah.
Ahsoka is like clearly the daughter, the good side of the force. Who's the bad guy? Is it Maul? Maul seems like the most obvious in some ways. It's the only other dark side user we've come across. Like I wouldn't put Palpatine in there. But
Mm-mm.
like that kind of makes sense to me.
No, it does make sense to me that it be Maul, and I'll tell you why. Maul Maul didn't fully embrace the Sith side. Like the second the Sith turned on him, he turned on the Sith.
Hmm.
So if he was truly like he was a terrible creature, yeah, he still had his own code, as Lonnie says here. Um, he um he lived by a different set of rules other than the Jedi and the Sith, and we must you know deal with all that. But he wasn't full evil, but he wasn't in with Palpatine. Like Palpatine had his like forget it, he was all in on the Sith. So
Hmm.
it can't be him. Um I'm having difficulty thinking it be anybody else. Like even somebody mentioned like, oh, it's what's the I cannot think of the evil guy. Sorry, I'm blanking, but it was some other villain in Star Wars, and I'm like,
If anyone else has like a thought as to who might be the Mortis son in some new iteration, you have to think like new gods, right? The new gods of Anakin, Ahsoka, and it would be what like when if and when Ahsoka finally dies.
Gosh.
Um, I like the idea of Asajj. She was more nuanced. Like you need someone who's like truly like dark side, and I think Maul is so dark side. Even when he's like acting, when he seems like he's acting on your side, he's always just looking out for himself. It's more of a selfish thing than even like a pure evil. Balin was
Hmm.
supposed to be the son, someone only interested in power. Oh, I like that. I like that, Sarah. Balin
Ooh.
seemed more balanced, and I thought in some ways we were also calling him Daddy Balin. So at one point I was like, does he want to be the Mortis father? But like that's Anakin's role.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: I don't know what they're gonna do with Ray. Right? Like, does Ray like how does Balin's story continue without Ray? Um,
Yeah,
hmm,
and that's another thing. Like Ray has an evil legacy. Like she was
yeah.
literally made from evil's DNA, but she is a product of her upbringing, and she has light in her too. So
Yeah.
again, the Force balances out the true evil by giving the light side um, one more to keep everything equal across the board. So that's what I think Ray represents, and that's why I don't think that Ray could be the son. Um,
Oh no, I was talking about the actor Ray Stevenson.
oh,
No. Yeah.
okay, yeah,
No, I lost you for a
Balin.
second. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah. I keep doing that. I
sorry,
always
one of
switch
my whole tired.
between names. Um,
No, but
Look,
I
we
I
could
think
speculate forever on this, and I
yeah,
think we will. And I know that you ladies want to talk about it on Daughters of the Galaxy as well. So I don't want to eat up all that
No, it's all good.
speculation.
Hondo needs his own series, this Aaron.
That's true. That's just true. And maybe Marty will pop into something like that. That would be
Smugglers
cool.
Inc.
Yeah.
starring Hondo Inaka.
That would be really fun. Um, we should get ready to start our episode in a few minutes, and then while we're doing that, we'll talk about Leia. We'll talk about some other stuff going on in the Star Wars news. We'll do some other speculation. I think people are familiar enough with this episode that we can talk through a lot of it. Paul Walker just won the Emmy for Blackbird. Okay, yeah. Paul
Oh,
Walker
Paul
Hauser.
Hauser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cameos by Lando. Yeah. So
Yeah, so what times? Oh, we have 4. So at 9:30 we'll start our watch
okay.
along of Princess on Lothal. But if everyone
So
wants to get their Disney Plus ready, it is
yeah.
season 2, episode 12. Start clicking now. I know mine was super slow today. Like I don't know what's going on with my
I
computer, but
was
yeah.
I was watching What If beforehand. Like I'm rewatching season 1 because I've seen
Mhm.
it and Alan hasn't. So he was getting caught up, and we just finished the Killmonger episode of season 1, and I'm
good.
trying to like hit the button to get out of the What If and go back to Rebels, and it's just blue circle. I'm like,
I hope they
thank
keep
God.
What If going. I feel
Yeah.
like, because multiverse is sort of their explanation for What If, like the multiverse
Yeah.
opening. And if they solve the multiverse thing, does What If no longer exist? If you're trying to be canonical about it in that sense, right? Um, I just love it as a show. I love it as a
Me
premise.
too. And they're
It's just so
nominated for
fun.
like 3 Annie Awards right now, which is huge in animation because
Yeah.
Disney is not a Disney animated movie is not nominated for an Annie for the first time in a very long time right now. So it's yes, the more you know.
Mm,
Thank you, Stinky. But to have them be able to still get it as from Marvel as What If continues, yeah, I have to catch up. I haven't seen season 2 yet, but I'm
yeah. Lori, I agree with you. I think Captain Carter is a spectacular character. And it's so interesting that, like, they had the Captain Carter TV show with Agent Carter, but I think,
loved that
you
show.
know, oh, I thought it was great. It was hard to find your audience on the CW, and, it was a period piece, and it's so tricky because now you watch her in What If and everything else, and it's like people just seem to be clamoring for more and more Captain Carter. And I was like, damn it, should they have just made a movie? Like, I feel like she's highly monetizable, but maybe it's too much to have 3 seasons of a procedural. Like, I think people want her in like those kind of bursts. Like,
I
make
mean,
a movie.
season 2, Captain Carter got a little muddy and a little weird, but you know
Mhm.
what? I loved her and Jarvis and the team up, and it was just amazing to watch, and I was really sad that it got pulled. So the fact that she came back for What If and for Multiverse of Madness,
Yeah,
I love
and
Haley. She's
people
great.
celebrated her return. So yeah, I'm ready for a Captain Carter movie. If I were gonna start
Yeah.
reframing like what movies need to happen, you need to go with well-beloved characters, Mando and Grogu, an easy to follow story, Mando and Grogu, Captain Carter. Come on, like this makes sense to me. I feel like we're so deep in the weeds. Like, by the way, I just want to go on record and say I liked Echo.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah,
God, I finished it. I absolutely loved it. Oh my
yeah.
God.
I thought it was so good. The native representation was incredible. I love what they did with the ancestors. The set design was awesome. The music was great. I actually had to pay attention because there are subtitles and there's a lot of sequences where they do not talk.
Yeah.
So you have to watch your TV. You have to watch the TV while you're watching TV.
Put
You
the
can't be
phone
on your
away.
phone. Put your phone
It's like
away.
Squid Game.
Yeah,
Read those
yeah,
subtitles.
yeah.
Um,
I loved
Alakwa
it.
Cox,
She's so good.
phenomenal.
The stunt
Absolutely
work was
phenomenal.
incredible. It was bloody as hell. Um, my only thought was you can tell that it has been chopped. 5 episodes, they probably shot 8 because there's some choppy editing, and there are
Yeah.
moments where it's like something's missing. And you know what? It probably made it better. I'd rather them cut it out and feel choppy than have stuff in there that doesn't
Yes.
belong.
Graham Greene, I absolutely love him as you know, the grandfather figure, and he's so funny, and
Hmm.
but he gave her a sense of balance. Like I know he wasn't with her grandmother anymore, but he gave uh Maya a sense of balance and stuff that she needed to um find her way back and start
Yeah.
fighting against Kingpin. So that was really cool.
And you could tell there were certain characters that were planned to be core cast that got bumped down. Bonnie's one of them. I think
Mhm.
Biscuits is one of them. I think
Biscuits was
Bonnie and
so
Biscuits.
funny.
Biscuit should have been a breakout star. He should have been the guy from She-Hulk, like the fun hot guy from She-Hulk.
Oh,
Why am I
yeah.
blanking on his name?
Um,
Um
oh
yeah,
god, I know who you're talking.
Vongers. So
Yeah.
um like that's the kind of thing where like Biscuit,
Jack!
yeah. Um so that yeah, I love Bonnie, but she didn't get enough screen time, and neither did Biscuits, and that's unfortunate. But at the same time, I'd rather it be tight and us saying it feels choppy than why was it 8 episodes? This subplot didn't make sense. This doesn't work. Like I'd
Absolutely.
rather it be this. And the spotlight idea is not bad. It reminds me of kind of like Werewolf for Night, where it's like, hey, watch this thing if you're interested. It would be cool for you, but like it's not critical.
Yeah.
And it ended up being fine. Like more than fine. I liked it.
So much
I
fun.
liked it
Yeah.
more than the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. If to like start, you know,
No,
measuring
it's fine.
things. I know. Oh, meanwhile, we're over our time. Okay. We are
Oh!
just yelling biscuits. Oh, Aaron. All right, let's queue up our Disney Plus and start talking
Me
Star
too, Aaron.
Wars,
Me too.
Star Wars Rebels, season 2, episode 12, A Princess on Lothal. Jeff, hit that countdown.
Oh my god, I started right on cue. This is great. Love Kitty
That was my
and
close
Ryder
button.
Azadi.
So just a reminder, even though I think I've said it 15 times already, go back to our playlist on YouTube and check out our interview with the one and only Julie Dolan, who
Yeah.
voices Princess Leia in this episode of Star Wars Rebels. She's fantastic
So sweet.
and the nicest. One of the easiest interviews I've ever done in my whole career, actually. Like, and by easy, I mean just like free flowing conversation. We did a good amount of prep, and we did have like a pre meet
Yeah.
and talk about what we wanted to cover. She sent in all those awesome photos. Remember, we had like a visual, we had like a
Yeah.
multimedia
We were like
experience with her.
literally showing and telling with Julie.
Yeah,
It was
we had a
so fun.
slideshow set up. I think it was Jeff who organized
Yeah.
all the photos and
It's
everything.
great.
And they were coming in
Yep.
late too. We got a few where like the day before it was like, oh, I found another one because she's been a Star Wars fan for years. She's been
Yeah.
in a ton of Star Wars stuff, not just Rebels. Um, and she's played multiple characters. And oh, so let's go back to the Ladies of Leia. So there are many women who have voiced Princess Leia across the years. Obviously, Carrie Fisher is our one and only princess. She is Princess Leia. She's obviously in episodes 4, 5, and 6, and then 7, 8, and 9. When she wasn't the person doing Leia, so sometimes for video games, sometimes for a Lego adventure, sometimes for animated, and then of course anything post 2016, they've needed other actresses to come in to voice the role. Julie uh, did it for Star Wars Rebels, and she even did the original Star Tours. Um, we also have Anna Graves, who I think did like the Disney Xfinity. We had Shelby Young in Forces of Destiny, Carolyn Hennessy in Star Wars Resistance as General Leia. There's been a Catherine Tabor who voices Padme in the Clone Wars, did Leia in I think also some video games and things like that. Multiple women have helped bring Leia to life, and Julie is friends with all of them. Oh, and I'm missing one. The woman from Battlefront, who I'm like Misty Lee.
Misty
Misty
Lee.
Lee
Yeah.
is actually the original organizer, like the one who was leading the circus, as it were, to get everyone together, and they all got together and became friends, and so they were doing these like Leia's
Oh,
like who lunch, so which was very
that's
very cool.
yeah, that's so cool. I honestly, I think it's the perfect way to not only pay tribute to the character, but to pay tribute to the woman that started it all and
Hmm.
made it okay for women to love nerdy things and love Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's the best possible way to pay tribute to Carrie.
Exactly. We're keeping the character alive. We're keeping Carrie alive. Like we talk a lot about legacy, and then you see these 5 or 6 women who are all in various fields too. They're all
Yeah.
actors, but they also do voice acting, musicians, gaming, social media, like all the stuff, and they're all a part of this like tapestry of Star Wars, and specifically around Leia. Um, so going back to what would have been Celebration 2020, I wanted to have all of them there at once, like all the Leias, and be able to pop them in and out, like all at the same time, of course, for one thing, but then potentially like then have them at other parts. Because Anna Graves also makes sense to have for like Clone Wars and put her next to James Arnold Taylor for half a day. Like
Absolutely.
those things make sense. And by the way, if anyone's watching the episode with the volume on, um, listen to Julie's voice. When you close your eyes, and there are some very specific sentences,
Yeah.
man, is she like a dead ringer for Carrie? Like the the closeness in tone, delivery, like the pitch. I don't know how to. I'm not like great at describing like the right adjectives to you know measure vocal range, but it is like right on to Carrie.
Oh yeah, like all the little nuances, the rasp. It's
Hmm.
it's all good. And she's crafty.
Yeah,
Love it.
and keep in mind Leia and Luke, of course, because they're born on the same day, are a mere days older than Ezra. Ezra's born on Unification Day, or Empire Day, like when actually, so Ezra's born on Empire Day. Luke and Leia are born a few days before that. So, in Revenge of the Sith, uh, the kids are born, and then the Empire is formed. So they are basically the same age. And it's interesting that when we meet Ezra, he seems so young because it's years before the events of A New Hope. But when we meet Luke and Leia, they're only 19 or whatever it is. Like they're
Yeah.
still teenagers as well. They're 19 or 20.
Spencer says Star Wars is 0 for 1. The One Way Out episode lost his succession in writing.
Secession's going to sweep everything, unfortunately, for Andor, because Secession is over and is sort of collecting its roses, as it were. We saw Kieran Culkin defeat Pedro in that particular category, and that's fine. Here's the thing: I don't think that like uh, anyone who's actually in the art fields, like whether it be music, television, etc., care as much about awards the way sometimes their fans do. Like artists aren't competitive the same way that athletes are, right? Like
Right.
it's usually more about creating art and collaborating. And yes, you want to receive credit and praise for what you're doing, but like winning awards is lower on the list than like if you're on a football team, like your whole purpose each game is to win. Whereas if you're an artist, I think it's to create. So there's a different sense to it. I don't think that like Pedro went home upset, or anyone from the Andor team. I know it's always nice to win though. Always nice to get
Yeah.
the award and then have it on the resume. And nominations are just as good though. I got to tell you, being nominated for an Emmy and winning an Emmy, um, is great to have on your resume either way. I think Matthew Wood has like 9 Academy Award nominations for his sound work, and he's never won. Eventually,
Wow.
I'd like to see that man get an Academy Award, but like nominated 9 times. It's
I want
something.
him to get more than a lifetime achievement in best
Yeah.
design. Like I would
Oh,
like
for
him to
sure, for
actually
sure.
win something.
Yeah, without a
So
doubt. Yeah, it's starting to feel like a
yeah.
Susan Lucci situation.
Oh,
Is Matt
Spencer says
nominated tonight?
no.
Oh, awesome. Um, I don't know Secession, Sarah. I want to be able to agree with you because it's beating out my Star Wars. I don't know it. I only know Kieran Culkin has just become everyone's like lovable uncle. People seem to love Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, we remember when Fuller peed the bed. So
Yeah, yeah.
for those who don't know, Kieran played Macaulay Culkin's cousin Fuller in the Home Alone movies who couldn't have drinks. He peed the bed. So
Someone was talking about that movie recently, and they were saying like us older millennials who would have been about the same age as Kevin when this went down, having a family like that, um, like that wouldn't fly today. Like they were legit bad parents.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, they really were. Like there's no sympathy
7
for,
kids. Yeah.
yeah. And neglectful and annoying. And it's like Kevin just wanted his slice of pizza and everyone was a jerk, including the uncle. Now in today's society, like a kid would have like kicked the uncle in the nuts and it would have been, there'd been no patience for that.
I love how thoughtful Leia is about the ruse of everything in this. Like, tell her to fire at us. So it
Hmm.
looks like they're like actually doing stuff.
I like her
Those
plans.
naughty rebels.
She's devious. And look, this is not the youngest we've seen her on screen now. This came out obviously back in 2015, 16, whatever it was. I'd
15,
have to
yeah.
double check. Um, and now we've seen young Leia in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show as like a child, and she was scheming
Yeah.
way back then. So she has a decade of experience of lying about her situation to important people, representing the government. This is
She
this is
was
like
made
a
to be a
this is
rebel
an average
spy.
Tuesday for her.
Yeah. This is my season 2 helmet. Thanks to Bean. I love it.
I
Zeb's like,
like that they're
yeah.
like legit concerned they lost the princess because no one's suspecting that she would be a rebel, like that she'd be on the side of the bad guys, the terrorists.
Oh no, they captured Ezra and Kanan. I love that Zeb took his job very seriously and knocked them out.
He hit them pretty hard. Yeah, this is peak Rebel season 2 silliness.
Yeah, Spencer Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi. And he's just like, yeah.
How's your face?
Oh. Kanan in that wardrobe. Just saying.
Now, if you were this Imperial officer, how screwed are you? I would die. I would just run away. You don't know. You don't know that she's in on it.
This guy gets totally raked over the coals this entire episode.
Hmm.
Which I'm shocked they show us his face because we don't see him ever again. But
He's such a bland character model,
yeah,
though. Like he's so like
yeah.
um generic cookie cutter Whitey McWhiteface over there.
I love that she looks just like Carrie.
They did a really good job with this character model.
Yeah. Aw.
And I will say that I use this episode as an example of them Forrest Gumping their way through Star Wars history. Like, and then they met Princess Leia one day. But I'm here for it. Bring me my Lando, bring me my Hondo, bring me Leia. Like, I love it. I'm thrilled that because if they didn't do this stuff, we'd be like, they really should have run into. We'd be doing that.
Yeah. I love that Ezra now as Amon Esfandi looks just like looks just like his
Or the
father.
dad. Yeah. They aged him into it with the hair getting curly and yeah. Leia's like, "Don't worry, my parents are just fine right now."
Totally fine. But, her being able to give him some perspective about like, we're fighting for them and just kind of keep him focused when he's obviously missing them so much.
Mhm.
It's that balance he needs to know that what he's fighting for has purpose.
Oh, this is the quote too. I fight for people who can't. Yeah. I have to fight because of the people who can't. Oh, Hera says that um it's close to like in Last Jedi when if you can only what's the quote about like um only believing in the sun when there's light out. I'm losing it now, but it's about not having faith. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to have faith that things are going to get better.
Right. Mm. And she's brilliant at thinking on her feet.
Hmm.
Like things go south, it's like, okay, knock me out, make it look good, and then just go from there.
Yeah, I like that she's not willing to surrender quickly. You know, don't tell me we're gonna fail. Let's figure out how to solve this. She's always and she's like 16, right? And everyone's falling in line and listening to her. And it's not because of her station, I think. I think like she's genuinely proven herself to be capable regardless of her age. Star Wars over 2.
Oh, damn.
Secession, I told you. Look, Secession's winning everything. Everyone just strap in. Just keep that in mind. It's the Emmys. They pick
Damn,
one
damn, damn,
show
damn.
and they give all the awards to that one show. They don't spread the wealth.
Yeah, they
Like
did that with
usually
Big
it's
Bang
usually
Theory, and it's last year too, so
yeah.
that's nothing new.
Um like back when I remember when Modern Family was good. Those first couple seasons they won every award, right? That's how it goes sometimes. And with Secession going off the air, it's like the way The Sopranos won everything in their final season. So
Chopper. Bazinga. Yeah, I think Carrie would have loved this episode. I think it came out while she was still with us.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
She's probably like, "Oh, I have space pajamas now, but I still don't have a bra."
Yeah. It's a cool outfit too, because it feels like an evolution of Padme's Clone Wars casual looks. Because
Yeah.
Padme has so many different clothes, of course, but they did put her in pantsuits for like a lot of action sequency kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I like the way I love the way Padme is handled in the Clone Wars when she's not in her like Queen Amidala look, like when she's a senator, um, and she's in her more fighting gear kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, like that arc of the character is really interesting. The only complaint I actually have about this episode is that the stakes seem really low. Like
Mhm.
they're trying to um steal a couple ships, and we've kind of done that. Like there's a lot of heist episodes in Rebels. But I also don't know like how high we could have made the stakes with Leia involved. Otherwise it feels like too grand, and they save that kind of stuff for the season finale things. Um, but the inclusion of Leia, I think, works really well. I think she has good interactions with the rest of the Ghost. Um, Ezra and Leia have some good conversations about, uh, what it means to be a part of the rebellion and is what they're doing all worth it. I think a lot of that all really works.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, and Leia is working both sides, Aaron. She's very much a double agent, which is really scary, right? It's one thing for Fulcrum to be like a double agent because there's, the secure channel and no one really knows who Fulcrum is. And at this point, Ahsoka has been found out as Fulcrum, at least to our own people. And this is pre Twilight of the Apprentice. Um,
Ooh.
but yeah, like Leia's out there. She's like one of the faces of the Empire. And in
Yeah.
some ways, if you're a member of the Rebel Alliance, you may hate her. You may hate everyone in government, regardless of, how they're presenting themselves because they're part of the government that's oppressing the galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Even if she's trying to do the right thing. So she may have enemies on multiple fronts. She's dealing with like everyday citizens who think she's either not doing a good job governing or groups like this who we would call terrorists or whatever that are actively trying to overthrow. And then turns out because she's working on this side, that the other members of the government, the other members of the empire, would easily imprison her or worse if they found out what she was doing as a double agent.
She learned a lot from her father, and her father learned a lot from other senators, as we saw in the Clone Wars,
Hmm.
who spoke up against the empire in smaller ways, like not so much during Senate meetings, but yeah, she learned how to play the game at a very young
Yeah.
age.
And Sarah's right that Mon Mothma was a part of that. Mon Mothma, Padme, and Bail, I think of like the holy trinity of
Absolutely.
politics, right?
Yep.
Like in the prequel era. And of course we lose Padme. So it becomes Mon Mothma and Bail. And a few other people who were there to help. Um, but the two of them keep a close relationship. The only thing that I remember feeling sad about, and it's in the prequel era, is that Leia and Mon Mothma sort of not lose touch, but they sort of fall out of sync as things go on, because Leia eventually becomes first senator in the time period of 789. By that point, remember, Mon Mothma is the same age as Padme, so
Yeah.
she's a generation older than Leia. And so she would be retired from politics, but she was the first senator or whatever, and the home base of the New Republic was on Chandrilla. But at one point, then Leia is in charge as first senator, and Leia's seen as like a war hawk, and
Yeah.
Mon Mothma is a pacifist, and so that tension is always going to be there, and the two of them don't always see eye to eye. That I want more of, and I want to see that on
Yeah.
screen. I think
Now,
we
do
get
you feel like it's because Leia did more things like this and actually saw what was going on instead of just hearing rumors and just working behind the scenes Mon did?
Mhm. I think that Mon Mothma felt she was in more control than she really had. Like, she didn't think. I'm trying to remember from the books now if she actually knew how bad the threat was from the First Order, or if
Right.
people thought, because people thought legitimately that Leia was crazy. They were like, the First Order's not a thing. You're a lunatic. You just want to go to war. Like, you don't have any purpose in your life unless you're at war, and you're the daughter of Darth Vader. So of course, so that's the kind of thing where, I don't think that Mon Mothma thought all those things about her, but like, it's easier than to get your way if other people like have started thinking that, right? Mon Mothma always was very idealistic and wanted the de-escalation immediately,
Yeah.
which we see happening in not Mando, Ahsoka season 1 is going very poorly. Like, having all these people who were former Empire working in the government was a big mistake. It was a big mistake, and I love Mon Mothma. She's one of my favorites, but that's a terrible decision.
Absolutely.
I got a cat over here who needs to be occupied. So if you see me stretching, I have to pet
Yeah.
him and hold him
Our
and
cat's
squeeze him.
always over
Oh,
the
oh,
shoulder.
Hicks, what are you doing? You're falling off the couch.
He's being a potato.
Mess.
Yeah, Mon's husband was also a D-bag, so that made it
Yeah.
easy.
Oh, he was terrible. Yeah. All right, Hicks, smile for the camera.
Hixie, you
There
pretty
he goes.
boy. You get that baby. Hixie, you're the new Grogu. Be in our show. Oh, kisses. Kisses.
This
He's
is what
so
it's like.
funny.
He's so big.
Cats. Chonky boy.
Look, you're on camera.
Hi, Hixie.
He's purring though, so that's good. Um, I see my workout bench is just over to the side, and I refer to him as my personal trainer because if I'm exercising in here, he needs to be involved. But he will jump up onto my chest while I'm lifting weights. And there
Oh,
have been times where I was like, Jason, I need you to grab the cat. Um,
Spotlight kitty.
yeah.
Please.
Well, there we go. That was a Princess on Lethal. Did everyone have fun hanging out with the princess? I miss
Yes.
Malaya. That's what
Oh,
that does for me when I watch that episode. I miss everything about
absolutely.
Leia in all forms of media, and most especially Carrie Fisher. I just miss her.
Like, if we could just get a little more of that. Like, we obviously have the League of Leias that are just dedicated to keeping Leia's memory alive and Carrie's memory alive. So could we see her again and more properties? What's to come?
This is the big question, right? I mean, with the um, deep fake technology and all that, which I don't love, um, but it's how they filled in the rest of episode 9 with Billy Lord, her daughter, and a little bit of, uh, I guess, other recorded imagery of her from, I think, Return of the Jedi is what they said. Makes sense. Uh, in theory, you could bring Leia back. My feeling is there's no need to. I think they handled it in Ahsoka really well by using Carson Teva being like, I'm speaking on behalf of Leia. Good enough for me. And then it makes me go like, I'm sure Leia is off doing something really meaningful, and Carrie Fisher can rest in peace without us bothering her. That poor woman. And if there are ghosts, she'd be the first one to come back and haunt the hell out of us for bothering her. So I don't believe in
Right?
ghosts, but I do believe that Carrie Fisher has the power to come back, and if she's bothered, will cause shit.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's why all
yeah,
those Hollywood bigwigs were taken out slowly for what they did to starlets and things like that. So yeah,
I think
Carrie's got
I
some
think
power.
I think it's specifically her. Yeah, she's doing it. In the Force I trust, but like at the top of that list is Carrie Fisher. Um, and and she's someone who I just always admired, and you know, uh, I
Exactly.
just find that she never really got like she should have been an A plus revered person, and I feel like she was always in like a B plus kind of space. And maybe because you're overshadowed by like you're in the same movie as a Harrison Ford. Mark Hamill's
Yeah.
really the lead. And then you're also like, I mean, she was legitimately institutionalized because of mental health issues. Now, she was able to turn that into a positive in her life and speak, I think, do such a good job to raise awareness for mental health issues in America.
Yeah.
Amazing if she could see like how far we've come in 2024, where people openly talk about taking medication, going to therapy, taking care of their mental health. Like, and it's not a joke. Like, people aren't being like, I need a mental health day. They're like, oh no, I legitimately need to like rest and take care
Slow
of
down.
myself
Yeah, yeah.
and care for these things. Like, she would have loved that. So, oh my God, Postcards from the Edge. Yes, Aaron. That movie, one of my all-time favorites. I mean, Meryl Streep playing her, first of all, is like perfect casting, like incredibly well written. Obviously it's like a sad, terrible story because like it's about her going into um mental health rehab. And it's a postcard from the edge. And I just love, love, love it. I highly recommend everyone either read the book or watch the movie. uh, if you can read Wishful Drinking or
Yes.
watch Wishful Drinking. Um,
Wishful drinking is actually, yeah, both the stand-up special and that are just phenomenal reads.
so
The
good.
Princess Diarist, that's another one from her time filming Star Wars. It's kind of sad.
Yeah,
You got to think she was 19 when she wrote a lot of what's in it, and
yeah.
it's obvious, girl with a crush and older men meddling where they shouldn't.
And just being a young woman in the industry, I'm sure. Look, and she was like the one woman in the whole damn movie, right? Like
Yeah,
in the whole franchise for how long? It's her and Aunt Beru up until we get Ula in Return of the Jedi and Mon
right.
Mothma. Like it's
Yeah.
truly that.
Oh, and
Um,
that lady in the space cave and Hoth. That
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah,
one
that's right. The
female.
one Rebel Alliance communications officer. Yeah, this was our joke about not being able to do a Women of Star Wars trading card set because there weren't enough characters until we got to like the new trilogy and
Yeah.
I think Mandalorian season 1.
Still my favorite
Beautiful.
card set to work on. I really wish I was able to work on Rebels because every time I like see cards in there, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I know. That was I couldn't even take credit for any of that. I joined Topps in November of 2014 and that set was just about to come out. So, I think it came out in like January or February of 2015. So it was like done and dusted. I just got to watch it hit the market and of course I loved Rebel. So I was like, "Oh wow, this feels like a good sign."
It was meant
Um
to be.
it was. It really that job at Topps for me really was meant to be. And I don't really have like someone was asking me about it recently. I was like, I don't have any hard feelings about it. Like I had 6
Yeah.
great years there. I loved it. A lot
And
of
we're
people lost
friends.
like
It's
I know
like,
I got so many great things out of it. I met you
yeah.
there. I met Spencer there. I met all
Yeah.
of the people in the fandom that I'm friends with. The reason I'm here on the screen is through the various fandoms. Frank, who's one
Yeah.
of the co-owners of this channel. Um, I mean, I got a lot of great things out of it, and everyone lost their jobs and livelihoods and lives in COVID. I was let go from a job during COVID, like half the country, and then I found another job where now I'm. Let me tell you, I'm thriving now. I was struggling for a minute, but like I am also crazy and busy, and now I'm leading the entire license portfolio at Ruby's, which is a lot. It's why I'm going to Vegas in a week, by the way, people. So as I mentioned at the top of the episode, and in case anyone missed this, Skip will be back next week, this time with
Oh,
Ashley, to do a new episode of Rebels Revisited. It's going to be really fun. They're going to be watching a little out of order. My fault on the programming side. Season 2, episode 11, Legacy. So they're going to be doing that watch along next week. So that'll be fun. You're going to have a great time with Skip.
oh yeah. He's awesome. So I can't wait for that. That'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. That's next week. Coming up this week on the network, we have a packed. Yeah, it will be
We're-
the year Skip. Um, a packed week of programming as always. Obviously, tomorrow is happy hour. So join us. I think that starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. I always lose track. So happy hour is on Zoom.
Yep, you're
We've
right.
got the Nerf Herder Council on Wednesday, and this is going to be a really fun one because Spencer is guest hosting with the boys, and they're doing a comparison on which movie is better, Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith. Ashley, what's your take on this one? Because I have a
It's
clear favorite in this one.
Revenge of the Sith. Like honestly, like that's the stakes could not be higher in that movie.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is the literal fight for not only the lives of like obviously the rebellion, sorry, the Republic versus you know the new Empire, but it's the fight for Anakin Skywalker, and it finally comes to a head.
Yeah, it is the end of the prequel trilogy. It is the fight for the life of Darth Vader and Anakin. And so, Spencer, I will give you this. Revenge of the Sith, we do know the ending walking in, but we don't know how we get there, and we don't know what's going to happen along the way, other than the fact that Anakin becomes Vader. There's nothing else we actually know. And in fact, I do think they throw you enough curveballs. Like we knew that Padme could die, but she also could have just bit on Alderaan. Like there was actually no need to kill her. Like
Yeah,
there was nothing preceding 2003 to make it seem like um, she needed to be dead. And the way Anakin and Obi-Wan, I think, had their final fight was really great. Here's the thing: I will also say, if we're fighting about what the best Star Wars movie is, neither one of these movies are in contention. And I think that they could fight it out for a mid-tier placement on my list. So if
yeah.
they'd like to fight us to be the seventh best or eighth best movie on the list, have at it, boys. I think that Attack of the Clones, though, and Revenge of the Sith both offer a lot in terms of lore and world building and philosophy. Like my favorite part about Attack of the Clones is the unraveling of the mystery of Camino, of course, but more so you can see how things come into focus with Palpatine's plans. Like there's so
And
much
the
there. It's
birth
a
of
slow burn.
Boba, like the literal birth of Boba and his quest for vengeance.
Daniel Logan, who I love,
Yeah,
love, love. He's fantastic. He's in Attack of the Clones. There's a lot of good things in these movies.
yeah.
Attack of the Clones is not a good movie. I'm gonna say it. And the special effects don't hold up, so it's not even like you could say like, but the special effects are great. I can't do that. Revenge of the Sith, I think, is better. And I think they both beat Episode One.
I
So
found the best meme this this week. I probably snatched it from Spencer, to be honest, but it was really freaking funny, and I absolutely loved it. An employee at a Mustafar mining facility seeing two guys having a lightsaber battle in the middle of his night shift.
oh geez, this is like those HR. This is almost like from a certain point of view where
Yeah.
people are putting in their HR complaints about like Vader force choking him, and I was like, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Send. Um, all right, so I can't even imagine what this conversation on Wednesday is going to be like because
It's gonna be crazy.
Spencer, are you really saying that Attack of the Clones is better than Revenge of the Sith? Like, is that what
What?
I'm reading between the lines over here? Because I don't want to believe that that's possibly the case you're going to make. See how
Like,
he's not typing.
yeah, you're not typing fast enough, Spencer. Come on, we know you can.
He's the last four comments in the chat, but he somehow missed that question. Um,
Ah.
so yeah, I'm saying all second movie is best. Oh, gross. Well, actually, all right. Empire Strikes Back is all right. We're off on a tangent here. What do you think is the best of the original trilogy, Ashley? 4, 5, or 6? What's the best one? Because 5 is great.
Five,
Empire Strikes Back is probably the best, right?
five. Yeah.
Yeah. My
Again,
favorite is
high stakes. People get hurt.
mhm,
Don't know what's
bad
happening with
guys win.
Han.
Bad guys
Bad
win.
guys are kicking butt, and you're just like, wait, what? What's happening? Where are the bad guys? Yeah, lots of explosions.
Yeah, big explosions. Um, here's the
um,
thing. I agree that Empire Strikes Back is the best of the original trilogy. My favorite is still Return of the Jedi, and that's just fun. I love it. I love the Ewoks. You can't stop me. Um, Sequel trilogy, 7 is a repeat of 4, 9 is something. 8 is by far my favorite, and I think highly rewatchable and the best cinematography of all 9 movies, I think.
yeah,
I think
Last Jedi
8
was just absolutely stunning. It's
gorgeous.
probably my favorite, and I'm going to be very controversial here because I know how some people are. It's probably my favorite of all the Star Wars movies.
Really? In your number 1 spot. Okay. Um, if I were gonna do best, I think, Empire, and then Last Jedi. Yeah, I put in my 2
Yeah.
spots.
Okay. Yeah.
Favorite,
I agree with you then. Because
I'm still gonna put Return of the Jedi. That's just fun, for me in my 1 spot, but I
as
might put
Ewoks.
Last Jedi in the 2 spot. Yeah. Um, I don't. Here's the thing. I can't
Yeah.
even put the prequels in my top. Like they fight it out for the bottom 3 slots. I got. Well, actually, that's not true. Episode 9's at the bottom spot. Um,
No. No. I mean, okay, to be fair, they lost to what's his name? Steve Young and Ali
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 Wong.
Wong. So
Yeah.
if they're gonna lose to
Here's
anybody, they lost to good people.
here's the good news. They got nominated because I didn't think that was gonna happen. I just. I'm sorry.
we
I just.
know we know Mark's thoughts on this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That was a shock to me. Um, okay. Look, here's the thing, Spencer. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Um, I think that your thesis statement is interesting. 2 out of 3 on your thoughts about the middle movie. Um, I don't think Attack of the Clones is better than Revenge of the Sith, but you know,
yeah,
yeah. Okay.
it's not having every
Either way, everyone tune in on Wednesday to watch
yeah.
whatever that's going to be.
We'll
All right.
continue that argument on Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll fight about that later. Thursday night, tune back in for Ahsoka Revisited, where they do part 3. That's going to be really fun. And then on Sunday, we've got a new episode of the Jedi Archives. And then some other housekeeping stuff. The VCN Family Vacation is now less than 7 months away, which is incredible. And the vacation is on. Bus 2 is back on sale. So get your tickets now. And of course,
Extremely limited.
yeah, this not a big bus. Um, and again, a reminder that the vacation is July 29th through August 2nd. We've got stops in Southern California and Northern California. We'll be in um, Anaheim. We'll be in Disneyland. We'll be driving up to San Francisco on the bus. You'll be meeting all sorts of Star Wars actors. We've announced a few so far already, including VCN Hall of Famer Chris Bartlett and a bunch of
Yeah.
others. So that'll be great. Yeah, the Scum and Villainy event is going to be just fun, so much fun. And then we've got a new shirt in the lineup as well, based on. You want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so this one is based on a conversation that Jamie and I had about the EU books on this previous week's episode of Daughters of the Galaxy. So we got our in Arabesh freaky force shit, y'all, on a
Mhm.
t-shirt. So that is hilarious. And again, you can wear it to work because no one can read it.
hmm I love too that like freaky force shit is FFS, which is the same as for fuck's sake. So
You can just
the
be like, oh,
acronym
the
really
freaky
works.
force shit.
Yeah. When I got
Love
to
it.
so I was out that night. I forget exactly. I already lost track of like oh, I had a work thing. See, so
Yeah.
the work is killing me. Um, and I listened to it the next evening, and so a whole day had gone by, and then I'm like, what is this freaky force shit? Like this is awesome. So I'm so glad that there is a shirt for this. So
Oh yeah, like they had that mocked up and ready to go to the T
yeah,
Public shop as soon as
so
the
good.
episode is over. So you have your options of what shirt you want to have, what color shirt you want to have that on. That looks really good in that dark magenta. So
Yeah, I like that
it makes
purple.
all the colors pop out. But I don't know if it's available in that color, that specific color in the T Public store. But there's other ones that are really awesome. So make sure you check
Awesome.
that out, along with our other T Public things, the Daughters of the Galaxy collection, the Rebels Revisited collection, the Pride collection with the big gay explosions. Hu Yang is for the younglings. Uh, we've got so much going
So
on
much
in
merch.
there. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. You can get
We're
them
making
on
tens of dollars, by the way. Yeah,
tens of
things are going
dollars.
great.
Yeah.
Someone said hi to me at 10:09. I know we're over time. Hello, Facebook user, whoever you might be. I'll look you up in the Facebook chat. Thank you for joining. We
Yeah.
are right at the end of the episode. Uh,
Of
it's
course.
that was a fun one. And I
Yeah.
know we didn't talk about the episode as much as we usually do because there was so much news going on. But just a reminder again, I keep plugging it. Go watch the Julie Dolan interview that we did last year. It was so much fun. We'll pin it in
Yeah.
the comments so everyone can see it. And then be sure to join us all week, all the things that I mentioned already. And then next week with Skip and Ashley doing a watch along for season 2,
Yeah.
episode 11, Legacy.
I'm so excited to do that. So make sure you guys subscribe to us on YouTube because you know how faulty Facebook can be sometimes. At our Virtual Cantina Network, and follow us on all the socials. And we'll see you guys next Monday.
Yep. Good night, everyone. May the force be with you.
Bye, guys.